My name is Jonathan Gillum.
And this is The Experts.
This is Jonathan Gillum, woo! And it's my Friday night, and I'll tell you why. But right now, we're going to get the show started, and what a day it's been. It seems like the more I try to concentrate on writing, the more things I have come up. Today, I was on Sean Hannity's radio show, and that was interesting with Ami Horowitz. I called him Ari the whole time I was on the show, so sorry. Ami. I'm from Arkansas. We butcher names. What can I say? So I got my Friday night t-shirt on. I got my Corona Light in a nice mason jar. We got a lot to talk about. I'm going to have to boot up this computer. And we're going to talk about Jim Acosta a little bit. Not that he's anything worth talking about, but I'm going to start focusing on these different journalists and find out who they are. Let's get it going right now.
All right, first thing is I want to know if Dave Robinson's out there anywhere. Old Dave Robinson. Got to say it with an accent. Although my accent's pretty strong when I use this. I don't know why, but I think people are starting to like this. All right, I'm going to turn it off now.
Don't get me started. I'll be going all night with these sound effects. I've got to get a clip. See, these are things you want to talk about procrastination. I've been talking about putting a clip on this thing since I started this show because my head gets caught and I end up inevitably sitting on this cord, which I'm doing right now. Let me boot up this computer here so we can pull up Jim Acosta's his Wikipedia page. All right, stand by 1 second here. Now, I recommend if you don't have a beverage of some kind, you could have Kool-Aid, water, whatever, I don't care. Get a beverage. Let's pretend it's Friday. I have to get writing done. I've got a deadline coming up. That's why I'm taking tomorrow off. And I'd rarely take the time off on this show, but I have to have this extra day to type. I know people think this is kind of ridiculous, and they think that I do an hour-long show, and sometimes, as last night, almost 3 hours. And they think that, well, how could this, take up so much time? But I'm telling you, if you research stuff and you go through and you watch the news and you talk to people on the phone and you do the interviews, and before long, it's just it takes up an entire day every day. Also, to produce this stuff, to make sure that, like today, I went through this whole thing trying to figure out what was causing this problem, and I think I figured it out. For some reason, yesterday I tried to turn off the wireless, and it wouldn't work. I went through and replugged and booted everything, and so now it seems to be working without the wireless on. So I also made a meme today, which we're going to talk about President Trump's tweets today. Man, listen, I can't... go figure. Somebody's going to email me right when I start my show. People always email me or call me or text me right when the show starts. Let's see who this genius was. I don't know who this Roe character is that's sending me this stuff every day. If I know who you are, you got to let me know who you are, because I don't know who you are. I get constantly barraged with stuff by this person, and don't know who it is. Anyway, enough about my life. Let's go back. I'm going to Twitter to see if we got any trolls on here tonight. Yesterday we had some. Right before I closed the show, we had a Muslim troll come up, and she wanted to start some stuff. So that was kind of interesting. I reached out to Jason Meister just a minute ago. He is at a U2 concert, and I was wanting him to call in and do a FaceTime. I don't know. Diversity equals white genocide. What does that mean? Oh, they're trying to get rid of. Yeah, I agree with you on that. Okay, I thought that was a play on words there for a second. Okay, so before we even get started, here's what I'm going to talk about today. President Trump puts out a tweet this morning, and let me pull up Jim Acosta's Wikipedia page. I'm going to start highlighting these people, these different. Gosh, that guy just looks smug. I tagged him on the Twitter. I really hope that he watches this or somebody tells him about it, because this guy, I don't know if it's an act for him, if he thinks he's gaining popularity, which a lot of these people do, but the reality is he's one of these people that has no experience except in what they deem journalism now. And these people, they're not like the gumshoe journalists back in the day where they had sources and did all these things. And, you know, they were almost like private investigators going out and finding out information. These people are, they like to sit in, get part of the information, and then they spin it however they want. They create stories. They make up stories. You see how Jeff Zucker runs CNN. Listen, I gave Jeff Zucker huge props when I worked when I didn't work at CNN, when I was a contributor at CNN, because the way he runs the place, you know, his door is wide open. You can walk in there and say hello. He says hello to you if he's walking down the hallway. I mean, he's not a pretentious guy. But you know, listen, when you have communist values, whatever, if you're a nice person, it's kind of gonna outweigh that a little bit, and it doesn't really matter how nice you are or how good your practices in business are and what your management styles are. The fact is, Jeff Zucker is running a communist propaganda organization that lies. So here's our first troll of the day. Let's see who this is. Sounds like Alex Jones, Roger Stone, Fox, and everyone at blah, blah, blah at Breitbart. Well, no, that's not the facts. In fact, I rail upon those people all the time. I think Roger Stone has gone off the deep end. Alex Jones, to me, has little credibility. I think he is a shtick, and he runs. He's basically no different than an actor. He does the same thing as CNN. He just does it on the conservative side. And Fox News, I don't know why you'd be criticizing me and Fox News. Fox News is turning into a leftist network. They're not conservative. So I don't know why people, some troll on Twitter would want to come on here and say that, except for the fact, you know, I have a friend, and this is important for people to realize. I have a friend that is a troll. I mean, he is one of these people, except he did it on gaming sites, and he would go on and do stuff. And even he said that it's gotten to a point where it's not really that fun anymore, that people will just they'll just get out of it, and they don't really play along anymore. The fact is, you know, the days of being cool because you go on and you mess with people, those days are over with. Nobody gets really angry anymore. I mean, if you're a troll and you come on the show, I just block you. I mean, most likely you're only doing that because you have small genitalia, or you don't have a girlfriend, and you like to, this is the only chance you'll ever get to try to pester somebody as big as I am, because you wouldn't do that in front of me. So, whatever. We'll leave you on there for a little bit. Let's see if you have a comeback for that. And I'm going to take a drink of my drink here. And yes, I did get the link to the factional banking there, and thank you for that. I just haven't gone through it yet. So, let's talk about Jim Acosta here for a minute and these different individuals in the media. I know I've been talking a lot about the media this week, but the reality is the media, as you can see, like today was kind of a slow news day. I didn't agree with, sorry, I'm having a little discussion with this guy. I didn't agree with you, troll. The fact is, you're a troll, and you go on these on different things, and you say the same narrative that other people say. So you're either a troll or you're just a leftist that's going around trying to bully people like all these leftists do. These leftists always accuse everybody else of being a bully, of being of being a white supremacist and all this stuff. But the reality is, the left is the biggest bunch of bullies, the biggest bunch of what's the word I'm looking for here? They don't accept people for what they believe. In fact, the majority of people that end up calling bullies, it's the fact that the left has to go. They cannot just let somebody be that it doesn't think like they do. They have to say something about it. I don't know if you've ever been around these type of drama people before. Typically, mature people grow out of it after they hit puberty and grow up a little bit, or, after they get out of the puberty stage. But these leftists, like this troll on here, they can't not insult people. They can't not go out and just say these very specific narrative things, But getting back to the news, I got to stop getting drawn into this. Getting back to the news and Jim Acosta, people like this, they're the ones who start these narratives so that trolls like this person here, like that's what they follow. And it's unbelievable because instead of somebody like this troll right here going and following somebody like Ron Bellin, who's been, to war, who's raised a productive child, and who is a mentor for warriors, and has seen the reality of politics in a life and death situation. These types of trolls like this person right here, they'll end up following somebody like Jim Acosta, who's a liar and a bully in the White House, which I don't know why they allow these bullies in the White House. I said it today on Sean Hannity's radio show. They need to kick the White House press corps out. I don't even think they need a poll reporter. Why? Why CEOs and companies don't exist because of that? Our president is not a celebrity. That's the number one thing. Politicians need to stop being celebrities. The best way that that these politicians could get fame is if they just did a good job. But they like the media around. This is why the media is still around. It's very similar. I think I may have said this the other day. It's very similar to famous people and how they hate paparazzi, but yet they have a relationship with the paparazzi because they know if they lose popularity with the paparazzi, then they're not going to be famous anymore. They're going to become irrelevant. And politicians, most of them are narcissists or psychopaths, and people laugh when I say that. But you look up the definition of psychopath and narcissist, you're going to be hitting on some of these politicians, many of them, and they just can't stay out of the spotlight. They think their job is to be spokespersons about what is best for the country. That's not their job. Their job is to go out there and make rational decisions, come up with effective solutions to real issues so that America doesn't have to wake up every day and worry about the fact that we have this crisis or that ideology wants to blow us up, or, it's always something. It's always something with these people, and that they don't do their job. They just get up there and grandstand constantly. Somebody just put in Gillum 2020. Listen, make it happen. I'll be there. As long as I don't have to shave this too short. But let's take a look at Jim Acosta's Wikipedia page, which I pulled up here. No reason to show it to you necessarily because you can see it. But all right, so Jim Acosta is a Cuban American. Maybe he needs to be deported back. Why doesn't Jim Acosta go back over and live in Cuba for a while and see the reality of what living under a communist regime is all about? He went to a public high school. They have to point that out on Wikipedia, at Annandale, Virginia. He graduated in 1989. In 1993, he earned a bachelor's degree in mass communications with a minor in political science from James Madison University. Okay, he's got a degree. He can learn. He's got a bachelor's degree, so that means that he has learned to learn. He knows how to teach himself. That's really what a bachelor's degree does. While in school, Acosta volunteered for WXJM, the student-run radio station, and also worked as a reporter at WSVA, a local radio station. So that's his education. Now, let's compare and contrast these things. Let me look up somebody else here. I'm going to look up let's see here. Hold on. Let me think. Who should I look up? Who should I compare this to? Oh, I know who. I know a good guy. Tommy Norris. Thomas R. Norris, okay? Tommy Norris is a legend in the SEAL community. You never hear from Tommy Norris. Tommy Norris isn't in the public eye. But let's compare and contrast just the early life, and then we'll go to the professional career. And I'm even going to do... No, I'm not going to do that. Okay. Tommy Norris was born in 1944 in Jacksonville, Florida. He was a member of the Boy Scouts of America, attained the rank of Eagle Scout. He earned a Bachelor's of Science in sociology with a specialty in criminology from the University of Maryland. While at the University of Maryland in 1965 and 66, he was an Atlantic Coast Conference ACC wrestling champion. So he's an Eagle Scout already. Before he even graduates high school, he's an Eagle Scout. Then he goes and gets a Bachelor of Science in sociology, minor in criminology, and was a wrestling champion. All right, let's go back to old Jim Acosta here. Let me pull that up. Now let's look at his professional career. Now remember, there's a reason why I'm talking about this and going back and forth with these two people, okay? I want you to realize who is reporting from the White House, for one, who is shaping the narrative and helping shape the narrative and taking part in the shaping of the narrative for the communist regime that's in this country, for the far liberal left, the snowflakes in this country. We're going to look at who actually these people are, okay? So Jim Acosta, we went over his degree, James Madison University, and he volunteered at some radio stations and worked as a reporter at a radio station, and has a degree in mass communications. So not saying much about the mass communications degree, but Acosta began his professional career in radio, and his first job was at WMAL in Washington, D.C. in 1994. He left there and entered television, working at this one station as a desk assistant in 1995. He moved in front of the camera, became a reporter and substitute anchor in Knoxville, Tennessee, and remained at that job until 1998. He then he became a reporter in Dallas, in Chicago. Interesting, he's going to all the locations where the liberals love to hang out. He was worked as a correspondent for CBS News, based in Dallas and Chicago. From February 2003 to 2007, he was a correspondent for CBS News, which, you know, everything comes out of there is completely truthful, based out of first in New York and then Atlanta. And he covered a campaign of the Democratic presidential candidate John Kerry. Interesting. And then in 2007, he joined CNN. During the following years, Acosta covered the 2008 presidential campaign, ballot bowl, blah, blah, blah. 2012, CNN promoted him, made him the national political correspondent. And then he somehow, this is so stupid. At a nationally televised news conference in November 2015, Acosta challenged President Obama on his administration's strategy for destroying the terrorist organization known as ISIS. Quote, "Why can't we take out these bastards?" Unquote, Acosta asked. Wow, that was a challenge. He really went after him on that one. And then he's also a complete jerk to President Trump, and that's it. That's his whole thing. Let's go back to Tommy Norris. Tommy hoped to join the Navy and fly jets, which I find a lot of team guys, for some reason, that's what they want to do. But his problems with his visual acuity and depth perception that disqualified him from becoming a pilot. He then became a Navy SEAL. Norris struggled during Bud's training, and the instructors seriously discussed washing him out of the course, and that happens. Ultimately, however, the instructors decided to allow Norris to keep trying to finish the training, and he graduated from Bud's class 45. A lot of guys have rough starts. In April 1972, Norris was one of the few remaining SEALs in Vietnam when Lieutenant Colonel, let's see, how do you say his name? Hambleton was shot down behind enemy lines. Now, many of you may have heard the movie called Bat 21. Bat 21 starred, oh man, their names just went out. The guy from Lethal Weapon, the black guy from Lethal Weapon. He was flying around as a pilot, and then another guy was on the ground that got shot down, and that's what the whole movie revolved around. Those two, Danny Glover, yeah, exactly. It revolved around their relationship back and forth. So the real story was Tommy Norris was one that saved this colonel that was on the ground. So he was shot down behind enemy lines. Aerial combat search and rescue operations failed, leading to the loss of additional aircraft and the death of 11 more airmen. So 11 people had died trying to save this colonel. Two were captured, and 3 more down and needing rescue. Norris was tasked with mounting a ground operation to recover Lieutenant Colonel Hambleton, First Lieutenant Mark Clark, and First Lieutenant Bruce Walker from behind enemy lines, assisted by a Vietnamese Sea Commando force. He and Petty Officer Van Kite, I believe his name was, who was a Vietnamese commando that worked with him a lot, went more than 2 kilometers, that's 1.2 miles, behind the enemy lines and successfully rescued 2 of the downed American aviators. Walker was discovered and killed by the NVA. Though Norris at first rejected the honor. They're not really going into exactly what he did. I would recommend that you read up on how he found him, where they located him, swam him several miles up a river. They were calling in airstrikes as they found caches of weapons and food and different soldiers from North Vietnam. They would call in strikes on these people, and for over 2 weeks this went on until they were able to find this guy and rescue him, and were shot at in multiple firefights over the period of time. Plus they got these other people and eventually got him. He was awarded the Medal of Honor. 6 months later in 1972, Norris was on another mission with a guy named Mike Thornton, and they were going in. As soon as they got over the hinterland, that's all the vegetation when you come up over the beach. And maybe one day I'll go through this whole story with you guys and tell you exactly how it turned out. But long story short, they get into a firefight. Tommy Norris had not gotten his Medal of Honor yet. He'd been awarded it. He just hadn't had it pinned on him by Nixon. And so Mike Thornton, Tommy Norris, and several other South Vietnamese soldiers were heading over this beach to do a mission, and they end up getting contact when they went over the hinterland. Tommy Norris took a shot to the left eye and to his, I believe it's his left eye, and his left arm, and I'm pretty sure it was his left eye. And so Mike Thornton, everybody rushed to the beach. When they got to the beach, they realized that a Vietnamese commando and Tommy Norris were not there. So Mike Thornton, larger-than-life human being, I've had the pleasure of meeting both of these individuals, goes back and gets both of those men. Tommy Norris's brain is exposed, and his left arm is all jacked up. He puts him over his shoulder. He grabs the Vietnamese guy, runs them to the shore. But on the way there, an RPG goes off. He gets fragged by that, picks the guys back up. He gets shot like, I don't know how many, 4 or 5 times. Finally gets down in the ocean. The other guys had already bugged out. They left. They let Mike Thornton do all this on his own. Thank you, Vietnamese commandos. And so Mike Thornton swam. He inflated both their life jackets and swam those guys out into the ocean for like 2 hours until he made radio contact and was picked up by some other team guys on a boat. So Mike Thornton ends up getting awarded the Medal of Honor for rescuing a Medal of Honor recipient. Now, I think that's the only time in history that that's ever happened. Now, my friend Wally Grant, who I've had on this show before, who is an incredible mentor in my life, he is the neurosurgeon that operated on Tommy Norris. Because the ocean water was so cold and salt water is basically sterile, as Mike Thornton swam Tommy Norris through the ocean, it kept his brain sterile because it was exposed, and it also kept the swelling down, and then brought him back to where Dr. Wally Grant was the only neurosurgeon in the war zone, and so he ended up operating on him and kept him for a week and then released him. Now, if that had been Jim Acosta, he would have tagged that. Well, he wouldn't even made it through BUD/S, so we wouldn't have to worry about that. But does that finish Tommy Norris? No, doesn't finish Tommy Norris. Tommy Norris then goes and tries to go into the FBI, but they weren't going to give him a waiver, and some politicians got involved. He went to the FBI Academy. Even though he only has one eye, he made it through the FBI Academy, which says a lot about, if you don't make it through the FBI Academy, especially for shooting, and you have both eyes, well, Tommy Norris is the standard that you should be shooting for if you go to the FBI Academy. So he makes it through and became one of the original members of the hostage rescue team, and had this storied career for 20 years in the FBI. That is somebody that we should be listening to. That is somebody who did not allow I don't know what this person's doing, Maureen. I'll block him if I have to. That's somebody that we should be listening to. That's somebody that set the standards for overcoming adversity, for understanding and learning a craft, a skill of warfare, that understands the relationship of the international relationship of different countries in wartime and in peace, and how little things can make a huge difference. This is a guy who is somebody who went on and then served in the FBI and made this country safer in country. Somebody that helped found the hostage rescue team, and he paved the way for so many people. Unbelievable. But we don't listen to this person. We don't listen to Mike Thornton, who had a storied career, not just in the SEAL teams, but these individuals do a ton of work now for raising money for veterans and doing all kinds of things. Is Facebook frozen? Facebook's not frozen. Jody, you've been having problems with Facebook for the past couple days. It might be your phone or your service. So anyway, the point of this is, Jim Acosta, man, I wish you were watching, because your mouth and the way that you bully the president and these people when they're in government office, instead of trying to dig for information, for one, it shows us that you're not really there for the right reasons. You're there because CNN is not only is it a propaganda tool for the Communist Party, but it's also a money-making machine. That's what it is. I mean, they have to have headlines, and they have to be superficial, and they have to get things really just salacious so that they can make money. That's how CNN and these different groups make money. So Jim Acosta, that's all he is. He's just somebody who ramps up the different So, look, don't worry about these trolls, guys. Just stay away from them. Don't let them say whatever they want on Twitter. That's going to happen. And if I see that they're doing stuff wrong, I'll block them. Man, Twitter's become a real freaking distraction for me. I may have to just leave Twitter off because I want to reach in there and strangle everybody. So anyway, you see the point I'm trying to make there is that people like Jim Acosta, who has relatively no life experience, he has a child because he has the ability to breed. Poor kid. I don't know what's wrong with his wife that she would marry him. She's a nurse. That's probably, I guess he married up to somebody who knows a little bit about service. But the guy is exactly what we don't need to be listening to. That's not who needs to be setting the standard, because it's going to be a standard that's very, very low. It's going to be a standard that's set on just making money or furthering narratives that, because he thinks he's famous, that are going to be beneficial to the Communist Party. That's it. That's all this guy does. And he's one of hundreds. And I got to tell you, the people that own and run, the big money people that back these networks, you're not doing the country any service whatsoever. If you're conservative and you got money in this stuff and you think you're doing the country a service, you should start insisting that veterans are people that why do you have individuals like Jim Acosta, who studied communications but never did anything in life? Why is Jim Acosta analyzing anything? Look, Barack Obama is an idiot, but who is Jim Acosta to say anything about a war plan? At least Barack Obama had national security information coming in that he can make a bad decision with. Jim Acosta doesn't know anything about tactics or national security or any of that stuff. The fact is, it's gotten to a point in this country where we don't get the truth. We get a narrative. We get the narrative that is specifically there for a reason to make money and to further the communistic mindset. We have millions of people that consider themselves liberal. I think they'd be free thinkers if they didn't have this nonsense going on with this leftist ideology and narrative. But they've been programmed since they were children with Nickelodeon and MTV, and if your country, CMTV, and the educational sector, and on and on and on. I'm not being one-sided. There's no one-sided here. This is the facts. The fact is, the media, whether you turn on Fox News, whether you turn on CNN, it is a narrative and it's spin, and it's given and delivered and analyzed by people that have no business. I would not invite these people into my home if I had children to sit and try to tell my children what's best in life. Many of these people are cokeheads. Many of these people are closet communists or perverts. And that's it. And you would not invite these people into your home. But yet you do by leaving the TV on every day. And big money people, you are backing this nonsense. You're that out of touch. And if you think that's one-sided, anybody that's coming in here and saying stuff, there's nothing one-sided about that. It's the facts. Educational sector is a disaster. I just said all networks to this guy or girl, whoever it is. It's a narrative. I've been on all of them. I was on Chinese TV one time, and they asked me a question about something. I answered it properly, and they said, we don't want to go down that road. And I said, what do you mean, what road? That's the truth. I was never back on there. I've burned so many bridges. The same thing with Fox News. You don't see me on Fox because I told the truth, and they didn't like it. Plus, I'm not pretty enough for them. That's the other thing. Human beings, as I always say, they love. I was on Al Jazeera too. Al Jazeera is gone, though. They're not even really anything here in the United States anymore. But human beings love shiny things. And they can throw a short skirt on and or a low cut with some push-up stuff, and people over that watch Fox News will just sit there like, and then they turn it on every day. And what happens? They leave it on in the background. Their kids are watching this. People are throwing money up there, big money donors, and then what you get is just a cycle of money and narrative that never ends, and it just goes on and on and on. And see, here's the other thing: if you're going to tune into this stuff, you gotta listen. If you're texting, that's cool, and you guys are tweeting and stuff, but I'm trying to give you stuff. I've seen this stuff in the background. This just isn't opinion. I've seen it. I've been there. I said Alex Jones. I don't agree with Alex Jones. Alex Jones was telling people that the military was going to murder them a couple of years ago. At that point, not that I ever really listened to anything he said, but I completely wrote him off at that point. He's just another one of these people who spins people up so that he can get money for advertising. That's all the guy is. Every once in a while, I think he does dig into stuff that needs to be looked at, but by and large, he's going to use it to his advantage. But listen, CNN does the same thing. Have you noticed since Project Veritas came out? Have you heard? I haven't heard much at all about the Russia conspiracy. And in fact, I will give President Trump one bit of criticism here. Look, he can tweet whatever he wants. I don't care. In fact, I would rather him just stay out of the media and use Twitter for whatever. I don't really care. And everybody always says, like I heard John McCain's daughter, who's another one of these, somehow is all over TV because her dad was John McCain and she wrote a book. She was saying that the president, those things were not presidential. Okay, that's not presidential. Bill Clinton doing what he did with Monica Lewinsky, is that presidential? Is Barack Obama, or to say all of them, is George Bush, is it presidential to go out and land on an aircraft carrier and tell people that the Iraqi war is over, full well knowing that that war is not over? Is that presidential? That's not presidential. People do things that are not presidential because they're constantly in the limelight. But I say, as far as the tweets go, the more I will criticize the president on one thing, but I'll also say it's not a criticism at the same time. Those people on Morning Joe, that's the most unprofessional group of snotty, just absolute self-righteous people I've ever seen on television. And you want to talk about two people that should never breed. Joe Scarborough and Mika Brzezinski. She's actually very pretty, but those two people should never, those are the types of people should never get together, because all they're going to do is raise little narratives that are they're just going to spread whatever they believe in this nonsense. So anyway, that's how I feel about them. So they're constantly beating up the president on their show. And I guess if you have, I'm going to read these if you haven't seen them already. Let's see here. Now, I have to laugh because, there's. So I'm going to give President criticism here. He has the media on the ropes. He has the media on the ropes for proving who they really are. I wish he would continue to slam them in a very aggressive way where he's pointing out the reality of their lies and the destruction that they have on the American psyche. How more than the Russians, the media, CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, they affected and played with our election process more than anyone. The liberal media in general. Russia doesn't even compare to what they did. I don't know anybody that was affected by Russia in their vote. On the contrary, there's millions of people that were affected by the games that the media was playing when they had these debates and with all this nonsense that they were putting out there. But when Do I like Huckabee? I don't know. He's not president, so I'm not worried about it. But the president gets attacked on a personal level, and I can understand him lashing out at them. I just would like to see him pick times to do this because he's in such a good spot right now to go after the media and show these lies. I would rather have seen him meeting with James O'Keefe and going through this and having James. I mean, well, I would have made it public and say, let's get the FBI on this. I want the FBI meeting with and the CIA meeting with James O'Keefe. I want to see what he knows because I want to see if these people are colluding with the Russians themselves, which I've been saying for a long time that I think they are. But instead, the president goes out and slams them better than any high schooler ever could. He says, I heard poorly rated Morning Joe speaks badly of me. Don't watch anymore. Then how come low IQ crazy Mika along with Psycho Joe came to Mar-a-Lago 3 nights in a row around New Year's Eve and insisting on joining me? She was bleeding badly from a facelift. I said no. Now, I don't care if you don't like President Trump at all. That is funny. So, listen, he has every right to do what he does. In fact, the more he does it, the more nervous people are going to get to go after him. I mean, that's embarrassing that he slammed her in that way. We don't know if he's lying. How do you know the guy's lying? Somebody just wrote on Twitter, yeah, but he's lying. How do you know? See, that's the other thing that cracks me up. We get people all the time like this knucklehead. I'm going to end up blocking you, dude, because you're saying nonsense on here and you're just pissing people off. The fact is, you listen, none of us know President Trump. I don't know. I mean, I know people. My good buddy Jason Meister, he knows him. He knows the Trumps. I was just sitting on Newsmax today. Chris Ruddy knows him. Sean Hannity, who I was on his show today, he knows him. But I can guarantee you this troll here does not know President Trump. He doesn't know Mika. He doesn't know Joe Scarborough. For you to say Trump is lying, you don't know that. The fact is he's got cojones bigger than Texas to come out and do what he did. And it's... You know, it cracks me up because people just assume, well, that's just nonsense. He's lying. You don't know if he's lying. The fact is, I don't really care. The fact is he's standing up to these people, to these bullies, these leftist bullies, and he's slamming them. That's the truth. I got to stop looking at Twitter. So, I don't know. That's about it. That's about it on that whole scale. I hope I didn't lose everybody on what I was trying to say about Jim Acosta and the rest of these people at CNN and how they have completely just bastardized whatever there was to do with journalism and credibility. I mean, there is no credibility. You have great anchors, Steve Malzberg, I saw him today. That guy is a great anchor. Sean Hannity's a great anchor. Bill Tucker's a great anchor. You notice I'm not saying any of the mainstream people except for Sean Hannity. These people are real. They're real, and those are people that can be trusted. I don't trust the majority of other people that are in the media, and I don't know them personally. I know some of them personally. Hannity's, how do you see? Here's another person saying Hannity's a buffoon. You don't know Hannity. I know Hannity. You don't know him. Listen, Sean Hannity's a conservative radio personality. He's privy to stuff that you'll never know. And he's a very entertaining radio personality. And yeah, he does pontificate from a conservative, right-leaning opinion. But I will tell you this. I don't agree with everything Sean says all the time. In fact, I'm probably a little bit more harsh some of the times than he is. And so, the fact is he's privy to a lot more information than like somebody like, I missed it, another troll. these trolls are popping up all over the place. I'm going to have to start blocking these people because the reality is they don't know anything. They don't know these people. They don't know where they get their information from because it doesn't fit their narrative. They automatically think that somebody's a buffoon or that somebody, you know, says, you know, this or that, you know. Yeah. I'm just reading some of these. I should put these up on screen. I wish there was a way, and maybe I can figure that out someday, where I can put all the chats on both sides up. I wouldn't want to do it with Twitter, though, because there's a lot of foul language on there and just a lot of idiots. Twitter is full of these people who think that trolling is fun. And they say things just try to get people riled up. Will Hutton, he says, let me extend this here. Acosta, who is no stranger to heated spats with the Trump White House, argued that Trump had his own affinity for peddling fake news as he spoke. A CNN chyron displayed the phrase presidential fake news, while Acosta listed a series of debunked news stories he said were spread by Trump and his staff. And what was the outcome of that? Keyboard commandos. All right, let me look at one other thing here in the news. I wish Congress or somebody that knows somebody would pass this to either the president or Congress or the Senate. As far as these sanctuary cities go, they're fighting to pass Kate's law in the push to fight illegal immigration. At the same time, Trump's executive ban is now in effect, or executive order for the travel ban. And it begins with minimal disruption. So here's one thing I'm learning about these leftists is that when they're defeated, they don't make a huge ruckus about it. And a lot of times, sometimes they do, but a lot of times they just step out of the way and they just surge towards the next thing that they can cause a problem with. As long as this president is, and I learned, you know, I observe a lot of stuff in life constantly. The other day I was walking Rico and, man, he's really slow. He's right down here below me, by the way. He's really slow because he's got a bad limp now because of arthritis. And so he's walking real slow, and there's these other little yappy dogs, and they're like zooming all over the place and going to the bathroom and zooming here and then sniffing this. And what's interesting is for about 3 blocks this was going on. And by the time we got to the 4th block, we were like a block ahead of them. And Rico can barely walk. And so when I realized, you know, it's the whole, you know, slow and steady wins the race. If President Trump continues down the road that he's on in the way that he goes after these people, I mean, watch the tweets. I know that those tweets are fascinating to some people, but it does give them fire. But at the same time, man, he's taking it slow and steady. He hasn't backed down. He has continued to push forward on the immigration stuff, on standing up to the fake news stuff. And what's happened is slowly but surely he has made tremendous progress forward. I would like to see more of the same, really. I don't have a criticism for that. And I think this is a good example with the fake news stuff. But with the sanctuary cities, which is what I was getting at, I wish they would just start locking up these mayors and the governors and these city officials that insist on allowing people to come to their cities and take up refuge that are illegal or doing illegal things. Mayor de Blasio, we could have gotten rid of that guy a long time ago. He would be in jail already. I don't know. I don't know why they don't do that. Let me see. Let me read a few more things here. Could Twitter kick the president off Twitter and bow toward liberal pressure? Sure they could. They do it all the time. They put people on restriction all the time for stuff that they say that are conservative leaning. Elizabeth Collins-Mont says they should lock these mayors up. I agree. See, the good thing about Twitter is, and if the president uses this correctly, he circumvents and bypasses the media, which is crooked. Now, I made a meme today, but I didn't publicize it because I didn't want to sink to that level. But all right, here's what I'm gonna do, folks. I need to get riding. It's 10 o'clock. I need to take Rico for another nice long walk, and I may come up for just a little bit tomorrow and do a short show, but don't count on it. If I do, I do. If I don't, I don't. I have to get the writing done. I'm working for you guys. You all are funding this show and pretty much funding everything that I'm able to do right now and concentrate on this stuff so we can push it forward. You know, we got 85 people on Facebook. Low numbers on Thursdays sometimes big numbers. 30 people on Twitter. I don't even know how many people we have on YouTube. I didn't even check if YouTube was working. Yeah, it's working. Let's see how many people we got. 16. The numbers are going up on YouTube. That's good, YouTube. Keep that going. So let's go ahead and do the Truth Zone. I'm going to close it out. And I'm not blocking any of these trolls tonight. I'll let them come back. See if we can convert them over to the truth. But if they get nasty and mean, then I'll defend. But if they're asking questions, I'm not going to block them. Rico, this dog, when he sleeps now, how many people have old dogs? And when they sleep, it scares me to death because I go to pick him up, and I swear there's not 1 ounce of life in that dog left. Now, one thing I do want to say before I make sure that you get a drink. If you don't have a beer or a shot or some, get some water, get whatever. We're going to do a toast here in a minute. And make sure that you're don't forget about this GoFundMe page. I know we talked about that a lot last night. We made $250 last night. That's going into the pot. And I just want you all to know that it means a tremendous amount to me. I was at Newsmax today, and I was talking to Bill Tucker and Steve Malzberg and a couple of their producers there, and I was telling them the reality. They're like, they're seeing that this show is growing, and the word is getting out there. And they're asking, have you monetized this yet? And I said no, because I really don't know how to monetize this show on YouTube. I'm going to have to learn how to do that. Facebook, I don't really know. They don't really have monetization yet, and I don't know about Twitter. If anybody wants to advertise stuff, I'll wear shirts, I'll wear a hat, I'll do whatever we got to do. If you want to sponsor this show, we'll put your logo up somewhere on this wall. I would be proud to hang it if you wanted to sponsor this show for the right reasons. But I was talking to them, and they were like, well, how are you, how's the show funding? And when I told them about how all the equipment's been donated, how much money has come in, how I've been allowed to travel because of these donations, and actually meet all you people and a lot of you, and how what you feel is so common. Sorry, I'm having the beer in my chest. They were astounded by that. Because big media doesn't know the reality of what's happening. I really don't think they know. I mean, I don't think they realize that people are turning TV off and they're going to Netflix and they're going to these different places. I'm telling you, anybody out there knows, if you know somebody who's a multimillionaire and they want to get involved in something that's real, this is it. Because myself and Ron Bellin and several other people, we could seriously get a network going and do it in a way that's never been done before. And we could do it with sponsored by the people. And we could get some big money donors. We literally could start something that you would have to turn into all the time. Now, here's one thing I do want to talk about before we go. I mentioned this before. I want everybody to start thinking about this. We have to start working towards this. And Jody, I can thank Jody for this. Oh, no, not this person again. All right, this weirdo that was on here, let's see, block. Why can't I block this person? Let's see here. Stand by. Every freaking week, block. There you go. See ya. Somebody wants to complain about that person, do it. I can't do it while I'm on. So what I want to start doing, Jody did a little segment today on her Facebook Live where it was raining, and so she did a Facebook Live video. What I want to start doing with people is I want you all to get together, and not necessarily together. I want you all to start looking for things that you can do live. And if you email me at jonathantgilliam.com, it's jonathan@jonathantgilliam.com. If you email me, most of the time that email will come through pretty quick. If you know me, you just text me. And if there's breaking news and you just happen to be there, then we'll come online and we'll put you up on the show. I got to figure out exactly how to do that. And what we'll do is we'll have you do live breaking news. Why should we listen to Jim Acosta when if there's if there's something, police activity going on somewhere and you live right there, don't put yourself in harm's way. If there's a big storm, why do we need to turn to the Weather Channel and watch people get between a building where the wind is really strong and give us a fake report? I mean, that's what they do. I would rather have so again, this person's asking me, I'll stop calling you a troll. Now you're upgraded a person. I don't see. Here's what you got to understand about this show, and it looks like this is probably one of the first times you tuned in, and so I'm glad that you're staying with us. This is not about opinion. My opinion that I'm giving you is fact-based. It's because I've seen things that most people haven't seen, and when I don't know it, I bring somebody else on that has seen it and that knows it better. It's important that we don't have a narrative. Now, it may sound like I'm conservative. I look at things a certain way, and I give this narrative, this analogy all the time. Let's say we have high ceilings in a room, and there's a light bulb that needs to be changed. One of us may say, let's get a ladder, and the other person may say, no, let's get a long stick that has a suction cup on the end of it. Now, both of them work. We may not have a suction cup. They may be too expensive. We may not have a ladder that's tall enough. Somebody else may come in and said, well, we got to get 4 people standing on each other's shoulders, which is really dangerous. It would work, but bad idea. Maybe we need to go pull our money together and get a bigger ladder or borrow one from somebody or tape an extension onto that stick that has a suction cup on it. I don't know. All those are realistic solutions, some better than others. But what we see in media and what we see in politics has nothing to do with changing that light bulb. It has to do with the fact that the left will say that the right is racist because they want to use a ladder, and that they're somehow being judgmental against short people. And the people on the right will say, they'll get spun up because they watch Fox News or Alex Jones, and they'll say something about the left that they're all wimpy snowflakes and they couldn't change a light bulb if they, there's anger and hatred going on all over the place. I will tell you, I do think there's more evidence of division on the left than there is by far on the right. By far, the thing that separates and divides people on the right is egos, laziness, and stupidity. Whereas on the left, it's I'm gay, or I'm straight, or I'm a woman, or I'm black, or I'm white, or, and it goes on and on and on, all these different ways to divide and make people angry. So I don't want opposite sides on this show. I welcome alternative solutions, but what I don't want is somebody to come on a show and give me the exact narrative that's being told on television, because I know that they don't know what they're talking about. So getting back to what I was saying is, I want you all to start thinking about this, because if you see breaking news and we can start utilizing your cell phones, which I'm Chasing New Jersey, which is a show that they do on My 9 here, and I think it's on My 9, which is a local network here. They do the whole show using cell phones and iPads, and it's a great show. So we literally could start doing breaking news utilizing you and the technology that you have in your hand. I got to explore that a little bit more, but I want you to start thinking about that, because literally my goal is to replace all this journalism. I think journalism is a dead, I think it's a dead career field. I don't think journalism is anything worth watching, because they've gone from investigative and providing details, just like an attorney in a court of law. What they do now, because they're not held to a legal standard, is they just give opinions, and they never look at the reality of what's going on. They don't look for experts. CNN, I was 5 blocks away one time, and I talked to the head booker there, who was a knucklehead, and if anybody ever interviews you while they're eating, just get up. I was on the phone, actually, smacking in the phone when she was interviewing me for a contract, and that's how disrespectful they were at CNN to veterans. And but if anybody's ever doing that, just tell them, say, listen, you either call me back when you're not eating, or I'm not interested. So I was trying to be a freedom or a truth saver by going over there and spreading the truth. But anyway, where was I going with this? I was 5 blocks away, and it might have even been Jim Acosta, actually, was talking about how they're making these bombs, these different terrorist groups. I think it was because Paris had been hit, and they sent everybody over to Paris. They had to do on-site, on-scene reporting from Anderson Cooper was over there, all these Brooke Baldwin, all these people were over there. And I told the girl, I said, I just saw your show. I'm 5 blocks away, and I said, you're having a journalist explain how bombs are made. I've made hundreds of bombs and blown stuff up that you can't even imagine when I was in the SEAL teams. I'm 5 blocks away. I can come and describe exactly what they're using. She said, no, we don't need that. We've got all we need. See, that's what I would never do. Journalism is turned into fake experts. Everything's fake about it. Fake. All right. You all ready for the toast? You got something to drink? Specialist. Yeah, right. All right, let's do this. It just does not seem like 10:30. Where'd we go? True Zone, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it, man. Anybody else have anything to say before I go?
Does anybody have anything to say before I go? All right, hold on a second here. 5,
5, 4,
3, 2,
Hit the wrong button. That's the other thing, folks. We're having fun on this show. It's okay to have a drink every now and then. Yeah, I mean, unless you have a problem, don't drink. Not pushing it on anybody. Will Hutton, I hope you have a drink up there. Eleanor, John, Ben, Maureen, Jalopy. Let's get a drink up. Let's raise a toast. It's my Friday, don't forget. Let's see what we're going to toast to. Let's toast. Let's toast to President Trump's tweets. Let's really piss people off tonight. Listen, I'm glad that we have somebody in office that is willing to stand up to the media. I'm glad. I'm not going to apologize for that. You love him or hate him. Listen, you can chop him all to pieces and say he does this right or that wrong or whatever. We're talking about the tweets, okay? I like the fact that we have a president that stands up to the media. If Barack Obama he didn't really have to stand up to the media because they had the same narrative. See, that's what we got. That's one of the things that we have going for us. We have somebody in office, although he is a celebrity, he's not concerned with what these people think. He'll stand up to them. And by and large, that's what we need to do. I say this every night. The people need to stand up against this. The only way we're ever going to do this is unless we win the lottery and are able to start our own narrative or our own network narrative. The truth is a narrative. We're not going to be able to stand up against these people, although we do have the ability to do it now. So let's raise a toast. Here's to you, my buddy Rico down there. Here's to all the animals out there that are our pets and that we love and get and support us. Here's to the animals that we eat that give us energy. May God bless their souls. Here's to the Lord up above who blessed me with life, breathed life into me and knows me personally and allowed me to be born in a free country. Here's to the oppressed and those that have paid the price through the years of suffrage so that we could be free. Here's to Ron Bellin, our good buddy who came on here last night and told us about the reality of what was going on over there in the Middle East when so many died. So many people died on that day 12 years ago in Operation Red Wings. Here's to Marcus Luttrell. The guy has to deal with this every day. And here's to all the wives in the military who stand by their men. Here's to deportation. May it happen to many, many people in Washington, D.C. And as always, here's to you all. May we never take for granted our ability to laugh and to love and to communicate. You guys have a good Friday. I'm Jonathan Gillum. Rico's down there below me. And I'll see you all Monday on The Experts. The truth has arrived.
Don't forget to go to the GoFundMe page, and yeah, I mean you, Jalopy. You better get on it. I spent most of this freaking show talking to you tonight. I ain't joking. Go over there.
You ain't even met Dave Robinson yet, Jalopy. And old Wolfpack, don't worry, you'll get back up there. You just gotta be more of a super fan, like Maureen. Maureen. Let's see what else I can do right here while we got a second. I think for the first time we got somebody named Gretchen watching the show. Thank you, Gretchen. Von Carroll. Are you German? Thank you, Rhonda. You got the greatest last name, Rhonda Gunn. Mark Chambers, thank you. Roxanne, you know I love you. Eleanor is awesome. I'm not gonna belch. I got in trouble for that already. I don't drink and drive. I live in Manhattan. I don't have to drive. Although I do drive my scooter from time to time. Let's see, who else? Not a lot of people talking on Facebook tonight. 48 people still on. Why? I don't know why. Listen, if you all want to talk to each other, I can stay on here for a little longer. Sean Sharif.
Thank you all for being here. Have a great weekend. Take tomorrow off. That's an order. Have a great Friday. Dropping the mic.